Good afternoon, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. Good afternoon to Virgin Islanders all around the Caribbean region, the mainland, and the outer world. This is WSTX 970 AM on your dial, WSTX.com on your internet, and this is your host, Mary Moorhead, with you for another Wednesday afternoon. And the number when you want to join in on the conversation is area code 340, and the number is 773-0390 or 773-0490. And I do have to let you know ahead of time that circumstances, medical appointment that has to be made. So we will be closing off at 3 p.m. today. Okay, we will be closing off at 3 p.m. because we have to make a medical appointment. I do apologize for the shortening of the program, but could not be avoided. Okay, and to begin, I have an article here in the VI Consortium that I want to read for the listening audience because I think it's important. The information is shared if you have not seen it yet, or, well, or are not one who follows the news on the consortium. And the headline reads Juve rescheduled following VIPD request as safety staffing drive Crucian Festival change. And the article reads The Division of Festivals has announced a change to the Crucian Christmas Festival 2025-2026 schedule following consultations with the VI Police Department regarding safety. Quote, following conversations with the Virgin Islands Police Department regarding safety, we have made the following adjustments to the Crucian Christmas Festival schedule at the department's request. And that is a statement from the Division of Tourism. The Division of Festival. The safety of our community is of the utmost importance, and we will continue to work closely with VIPD to ensure a successful and secure event for all. The revised schedule moves Juve to Wednesday, December 31st, 2025, beginning at sunrise, in coordination with the food fair set for 12 p.m. The update is part of the official lineup for this year's festival, which runs through December 26, 2025 through January 3rd under the theme, quote, Timeless Traditions in Every Mix. That's the theme of the St. Croix Christmas Festival 2025. Attempts to reach VIPD Director of Communications Glenn Drake for comment were unsuccessful, but the consortium has learned that the police department was the driving force behind the schedule change, despite strong resistance from the Division of Festivals. The division, which has spent months finalizing the schedule in coordination with the department, reportedly pushed back against the adjustment. According to information obtained by the consortium, the VIPD's position is that the department lacks sufficient manpower to manage security if Juve were held on January 1st, 2026, Old Year's Night, New Year's Day, a period marked by widespread celebratory gunfire that frequently requires police response. Officials say staffing limitations make it difficult to secure multiple large scale events occurring simultaneously across the island. Even so, the rescheduled date of Wednesday, December 31st presents new challenges. That day already includes the food fair and coincides with the arrival of two cruise ships, according to VI Post Authority St. Croix School cruise schedule. Still, sources familiar with the discussions said the department insisted on the change, leaving the divisions of festival with little choice but to comply. I'm looking for that. The last minute adjustment may disrupt travel plans made around Juve festivities, and early online reactions suggest frustration among Virgin Islanders. Attempts to reach VI Commissioner Mario Brooks for comment were also unsuccessful. He's supposed to come into me and I can't reach out. The Crucian Christmas Festival, hosted by the VI Division of Festivals under the Department of Tourism, remains one of the territory's largest cultural celebrations, featuring live music, parades, pageantry, and culinary showcases. Okay, so there you have it, folks. Now, here are some concerns that I personally have. I know for a fact that for many years, the department was known to take our St. Croix officers and take them to supplement St. Thomas officers for Carnival. So I wonder if we are going to have a reciprocal situation if we plan to bring some St. Thomas officers to St. Croix for festival to make up for the staff shortage because they mentioned that was one of the problem. Now, here's another thing. The VIPD opposes the Juve being on January 1st because of the response that they have to give to the illegal gun firing that occurs on the 1st. Okay, but folks, okay, let's make sense out of nonsense. Okay, that gun firing takes place at midnight, right? Because it has to do with entering of the first of the year, right? The Juves, okay, do not begin until sunrise. Sunrise, we would say, is maybe 6 a.m. I'm not sure what you know this time of the year what really is the time of sunrise. But the point is, let's say it's 6 a.m. You're talking about at least 5 hours difference between the firing of the celebratory shots for the new year to bring in the new year and the time when um, Juve would have to begin. So I don't see that there's a security problem there because you have those hours, um, to allow for whatever needs to take place with the tracking down the gunfire situation. I don't think it would take 5 hours to do that. So really, as I see it, it would have been best to yes have the Juve on January 1st because folks, to have a Juve on the same day as a food fair, and the same day with two cruise ships, you're really just looking for St. Croix to look bad. Okay? You're looking for St. Croix to just have chaos and total confusion on the 31st of December. Makes no sense. I mean, as it is, we're already looking bad with cruise ship passengers, visitors. And I say that because here it is, the one time when they increase all the visitors of where cruise ships are concerned is when St. Croix is, as I you refer to it, on its knees. Okay, and I say on its knees because I mean, we're in the worst position. Nothing is happening right presently. We don't have the attractions for the cruise ships that we used to. We don't even have the road, the Mahogany Road, or the oh dear me, I am having a blank, and I do apologize to my ancestor because I can't recall right now the appropriate name for the Mahogany Road. But the point is, it's not finished, and that is a important road that the tour operators use when there are cruise ships visiting St. Croix, because they take them, through the rainforest to see the beer drinking pig and all this kind of bit. That's not available. We have not been able to get the repairs done to the Wim Museum, so that's not available. You know, all there is to go to Christiansted, for them to have a tour around the Christiansted town and do whatever shopping there is to do. Uh, but really, the tour for the Frederickstown town would be inconvenient, would not be available if you're going to have food fair and Juve on the same day that you have two cruise ships. Now, folks, realize that I said two cruise ships, okay? And this is, as I read in the report in the article, according to the VI Port Authority cruise schedule. Now, whether there'll be a change between now and then remains to be seen. But two cruise ships, folks, let's say you're talking about probably close to an extra 10,000. Okay, let's be conservative. Okay, 6,000, an extra 6,000 people on the island of St. Croix in the town of Frederickson, with the additional 6,000 or more that appear for Juve every year. Okay, now according to our the numbers, the data that we do get every year, it's at least 6,000, if not more, people who go out in the street of Frederickstead for Juve. So you're talking 6,000 for Juve, 6,000 for cruise ship, okay? And then you have the food fair in between, trying to maneuver, trying to be organized, trying to make a dollar, the vendors at the food fair. Okay? This is really, as I understand what tourism is saying, the division of festival, police run thing, but then it needs to be a reconsideration by the police because they're really making it easy for them, but absolutely ridiculous and tolerable for tourism, for Port Authority, for festival. Okay? And as I said, they need to bring officers from St. Thomas to help out in St. Croix, the same way St. Croix officers used to go to St. Thomas for carnival. Okay? And I said used to because I don't know if they still do that, but I know it used to be done. And then to reconsider moving the Juve, as I said, to January 1st instead of December 31st. And I'm going to read again what it says. Okay. According to the information obtained by the consortium, the VIPD's position is that the department lacks sufficient manpower to manage security if Juve were held on January 1st, 2026, a period marked by widespread celebratory gunfire that frequently requires police response. Officials say staffing limitations make it difficult to secure multiple large scale events occurring simultaneously across the island. Now, that is confusing to me because you have, let's say, the VIPD has forced the VI, St. Croix, to put multiple large scale events in one area. That's the Juve, two cruise ship, and the food fair. Okay? I don't see that it makes it any better to have them all convene in one area, putting the pressure on the community and the people to be frustrated, to get upset, to get emotionally out of sorts because of the lack of movement which is going to occur when all these people converge in the same place at one time. Okay? Um, I guess the whole thing will be that the Juve will be forced to move fast, okay, and finish at a certain time. And I say that because usually the Juve is going at least until 11 o'clock, usually, okay. So if you have the food fair to begin at 12, then I only would assume that when the Juve starts at sunrise, then it will be forced to cease, to stop, to finish, probably around 9 or 10 o'clock, if not before. Okay? But my solution is, and folks, if any of you uh, want to contribute, my solution is one and first foremost is it is move the Juve to January 1st, bring whatever officers can be available to come from St. Thomas to assist the St. Croix PD. Okay. And as I said, then you relieve December 31st of that pressure from the Juve because even if the Juve finishes early, you still have the situation of the people lingering around. You still have the situation of the vehicles that will be in the area, and well, be on the road, uh, fighting for space, fighting the traffic, because you will have traffic from the tour buses that will be taking the cruise ship visitors from the two ships, trying to take them out of town to Christiansted. Okay? Um, no, they usually use the same route, to go out of town that the Juve uses to come into town. So Senator Frankie Johnson was right when he said to the officials that the schedule that they presently have is really one of chaos and confusion, and to me, seems to be um, deliberately done, really not considering all the particular issues. And let's make sure we understood that I am not in any way demeaning the officers of the Virgin Islands Police Department, but I do think that it would be best if they don't have all these activities happening at the same time on the same day, right? Because usually cruise ships dock and let off the people around 8:30. That is would be those of you who participate in the Juve should know that is approximately around the time when the Juve is in full swing and probably about mid-town. Okay, so you would have the Juve on King Street mid-town, and you would have the cruise ship visitors on Midtown on Strand Street trying to get out while the Juve is trying to get down, right? If anyone sees a different situation, um, please, I would ask that, excuse me, I would ask that we do our best. Those who maybe would think that they would have, excuse, have some influence with the Department of Police, specifically with the commissioner, to please encourage him to change the Juve from the 31st to the 1st. As I said, they need to bring officers from St. Thomas St. John to supplement in St. Croix, but they really do need to move the Juve from the same day with two cruise ships and food fare. That is definitely not a good scene. And those of you who want to doubt it, if you go on the consortium, okay, where this story is located, the consortium did justice by putting a picture, okay, of the Juve on King Street in Fredericksted. Okay, to just look at that picture and the amount of people that you see there, okay, this picture is what you might say probably photographed from on King Street, right on the corner of Hill and King. Okay, um, for those of you who are not quite familiar, that would be the cross street on which the um, Frederickson Hotel is located. Okay, so just right there by that intersection on King Street, if you see the picture, I mean, it's like shoulder to shoulder people, as far down as the picture would let you see, which in this Zoom situation shows you all the way down, I would say, as far down as Market and King. And Market and King is that cross street where the first bank is located, okay? On Strand, and that Market is located on Queen. And, there is not a space to be seen in the crowd of people who are in King Street for that Juve. So consider that, okay, on December 31st, right, um, happening on King Street, while you have an equal amount of people coming off the ship on Strand Street, okay, trying to be bussed out for their tour or for their trip, transportation to Christian Step Town. Okay. And you will begin to imagine the confusion and the chaos that really can happen if there is no adjustment in the scheduling of this December 31st. Okay. It really is going to be quite a mess. Quite, quite a mess. So hopefully, um, you know, something will be done, something will be adjusted. I do hope for all of us sake that there is some sort of adjustment to that. Okay. Now, I am moving now to the article in the consortium again, but the headline of this one is Brian leads USVI delegation to Ghana to advance trade, tourism, and technology partnerships. Okay. And the article reads Governor Albert Bryan Jr. will lead an official government of the Virgin Islands delegation to Accra, Ghana from November 22nd to 30th as part of an effort to expand trade, tourism, technology, and cultural partnerships between the U.S. Virgin Islands and West Africa, Government House has announced. The delegation will include senior representatives from the Department of Tourism, the Virgin Islands Economic Development Authority, and the Virgin Islands Next Generation Network. Governor Bryan said the mission is aimed at producing tangible results for Virgin Islanders while deepening cultural and historical connections between the territory and Africa. Quote, Ghana is not just a heritage destination for Virgin Islanders. It is a potential partner for trade, tourism, finance, and technology, Governor Bryan said. This delegation is about turning shared history into shared opportunity. Close quote. The governor noted the importance of balancing historical ties with Denmark, the former colonial power of the Virgin Islands, with an equally deliberate focus on West Africa, the ancestral home of many Virgin Islanders. Quote, we have sent official delegations to Denmark for years. That history matters, and we will continue to honor it. But we also must be just as intentional about our ties to West Africa, where so many of our family ancestry is from. Both stories are part of who we are, he said. Mr. Bryan, okay, hold on a minute. Let me take this call. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yeah, Peggy, good afternoon. Uh, Listening to you, and with regard to Carnival situation or the changes and maybe the adjustments that you suggested be made, I would leave that, of course, to the crucial. When I say so, meaning that I wouldn't impose my ideas of what should happen, but I totally agree with you thousands of visitors
Two
who
cruise
have
ships.
won the
Make sure you said two. Two cruise ships.
yes, yes, with thousands of visitors that would want to hear the music and shake up themselves, even though they might be doing it out the beach. And a Juve as well as a fair. I think that is too much conglomeration of people in one area at the same time. Now, it would be good to hear what public safety response would be to that. Whether they didn't see it so, they don't see it so, or they didn't think about this, or whatever they're going to say. I don't know.
No. But according to the article,
Okay.
it is because of public safety that the
Really?
schedule is what it is. Because the Juve was supposed to be on the 1st of January.
Uh-huh.
It is it was changed to December 30 for because the police insisted.
But how then could that be in the name of safety that you'll have? I mean, I don't know.
Well, because maybe because as the article says, according to the police, that January 1st you have the situation with the celebratory gunshots at the entering of the new year, and their officers are busy tracking those gunshot destinations down.
Yeah, but if the gunshots don't be all day, I think they're for around
No,
midnight, maybe once about an hour.
and as I was pointing out, they insist that the Juve does not start before sunrise. So you have any Juve, they always make them wait till sunrise. So the point
Okay.
is, if your January 1st, beginning of the year, is at midnight, and you ain't starting till sunrise, what's the confusion there? What's the clash there? What's the
I don't understand it.
I don't
Seriously.
either. But seemingly
My,
it is the dictatorship or the demand of the VIPD that is putting us, and I say us because as far as I'm concerned, they're making the Crucians look like a bunch of dumb fools.
they
Because
don't.
anybody coming off that ship, if I was a visitor on that cruise ship, coming to St. Croix for the first time and seeing the amount of people, just when as I get to the gate, even to see the amount of people and realize and hear all the activities that happening at the same time in the same place, I would turn right back around and go back on the ship.
Well, that would happen as well, particularly not just the seen people, they're seen as other black people.
Exactly. Well, I wasn't saying that, but you catch it.
Yes, I say.
Eh, eh,
No, but I mean, we got to be real, you know?
yeah.
Let me say this also. Um, we know that there are shortage of police in both districts. So how now? You're going to announce publicly that police from the St. Thomas St. John district would be coming to St. Croix. What are you then telling the good for them and St. Thomas to do?
No. Let me correct. Hold on a minute. Let me correct you. No, that's not
Okay.
there. That was my suggestion because, and it's a known fact. Okay, it's a known fact. Back in the day, that they used to take officers from St. Croix to go for carnival.
They still do. They still do.
Okay, so my point is why you can't do the reverse.
They're doing both ways all the time, unless they have changed it.
Well,
They does it all the time.
there was no mention of it here, that because that is one of the reasons that the police are insisting on the changes because of the shortage of staff.
Okay. Well, you see, the thing is this, though. To me, it's good to do, yes, interchange and yes, and all of that. No problem with that, except that you leave one district then strong. You
No, no, no,
Principal.
no. Let me correct you with that, Mr. Nate. First of all,
Okay.
St. Thomas don't have no carnival or whatever when we have our festival. Okay.
No, I
Um,
know that.
uh,
I
yeah.
know that.
So and what they do are the officers that they usually transport to the next district are usually officers who are off at the time. So in other words, it's not affecting the schedule in the particular district because these are
Oh, okay.
officers.
Okay. Okay. Understood.
Yes, and
But
that I know from the days when I knew officers in St. Croix who used to go to St. Thomas. Okay,
okay.
so I will assume that they continue in the same thing. But my position is that there is a solution for a January 1st Juve instead of a December 30th Juve, 31st Juve.
Okay. Let me ask you another question. Um, when the Juve is over, do people find their way back to the village for food and drink?
Well, usually some of the booths do open to make money because yes, when the Juve come down, that's usually where it end up down there by the village area.
Right.
The village is not officially open, but there are
Right.
those who have the entrepreneurial sense that who will be prepared to sell food or whatever else.
Right. And second, the better open the filmmaker, open the village at certain time and close it with a fine of money they charge it for food space. If they better open 25 hours a day.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't know if any booths will be open because, as I just told you, the food fair begins at noon.
Okay. But that should stop the village from opening. And
No,
when
it,
the
no, it does not, and it's up to the individual booth owners as to what they want to do.
well, because take a guy like me, I would not go to no fair, but I'm going to village. I'm
Yeah.
going to do it. But
Well, I am just
because
thinking, Mr. Names, I'm thinking, and it didn't say in the article, but I am thinking that probably the police will be telling the Juve that it has to stop at a certain time.
yes, when I come back and my next call, I'm going to talk about how I have seen Juvenile and other parts, Antigua, St. Kitts, Trinidad, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. But let me just mention this. It seems to me too, even with the moving of officers from one district to the next to assist, and which is good, wouldn't it be less expensive to use chief officers from all other departments of government? If they are running a natural, the other body, the other body are these people that we have called peace officers. They may not be all police, but they're peace officers. And or Peggy, the governor, of course, as the commander in chief, would have to what you call activate the national guard and let them help out our so it might be cheaper than moving bodies from one district to the next. If you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but do consider and remember, Mr. Nims, that certain officers have certain skills and certain training. The
Uh-huh.
supplemental, well, not supplemental, but officers from like DPNR or the different agencies don't have training in crowd control. Don't or some other parts of thing that police have. So while they might be able to assist, and I guess they would have to be, if they do use them, have to be given specific areas of control that have to do with the skill, the training and skills they do
You
possess.
know, it would have to be done that on site. So yes.
You
But
know.
anyway, we have other callers say. I'll call back later.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. Folks, let me just go through. Remember, I was reading the article having to do with the governor going to Ghana, okay, um, to finish off. Uh, Mr. Bryan described the upcoming trip as and this is in quote, working visit designed to achieve practical, mutually beneficial outcomes. Quote, this is a working trip. Tourism will talk routes and experiences. The EDA will pursue investment and free zone opportunities. VINGN will explore digital connectivity and fintech. Close quote, he explained. We want partnerships that put Virgin Islanders to work and create value in both directions. Close quote. He added that the visit represents a continuation of his administration's commitment to linking cultural heritage with economic development. Quote, when we recognized African Heritage Week and African Liberation Day early in my tenure, we made a promise to connect our culture to our future, Governor Bryan said. This visit keeps that promise by linking education, culture, and business with concrete actions. Close quote. While in Ghana, the delegation is expected to hold a series of high level meetings and cultural engagements. The agenda includes discussions with leaders from the Ghana Free Zones Authority, engagements with Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Adhai, meetings with senior officials of the Bank of Ghana, and a visit with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former president of Ghana. The group will also meet with executives at the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, tour Osu Castle, and engage with business and community leaders in the Osu neighborhood. Officials said this outreach builds upon long lasting, quote, people to people, close quote, connections between the Virgin Islands and Ghana, developed through years of cultural exchanges and heritage observances. According to Government House, Mr. Bryan's visit followed years of efforts to recognize and celebrate the territory's African roots. In 2019, just months after taking office, he issued an executive order designating May 25th as African Heritage Week and African Liberation Day in the Virgin Islands. Since then, Virgin Islands delegations and cultural groups have participated in emancipation commemorations and related exhibits in Ghana, underscoring the shared historical and cultural links between the two regions. That is the end of the article. The one comment that I am going to make, folks, is that I know I sat in Judge Alfonso Andrews' courtroom for 5 days in the trial under the auspices and authority of Just Andrews that had to do with the the complaint for the proper implementation of VI history and basic Caribbean history instruction from kindergarten to 12th grade that was not taking place. It is puzzling to me, as well as aggravating and upsetting, the audacity of the governor to want to, with this trip to Ghana and with his um, movie on himself, his documentary, the audacity of his now promoting the importance of our history as a people when his deputy and Errol Smith sat arguing court for 5 days because the case lasted, yes, a whole week against our complaint, claiming that the one course that is required by all ninth graders of VI history, one course, 6 weeks, was enough, covered any need that was necessary for VI history. Now, folks, begin to understand how do you cover, first of all, the history of the connection that the governor even makes reference to here of our ancestral home in West Africa, in Ghana. How do you cover beginning from there to then come forward to the Middle Passage to the Caribbean and then to end with us in the Virgin Islands in our course that only lasts 6 weeks? I leave that for you to contemplate, each one of every one of you that are listening to me, and understand why I personally just see this whole thing as hypocritical and just a excuse, okay, um, for the governor and his associates to have a government funded trip to Ghana, to Africa. Make sure you realize that in the article it pointed out that he would be meeting with a former, okay, a former president of Ghana, not the sitting president. And I was wondering what, how is this trip an official visit when you don't even have an appointment with the present chief of Ghana, of Accra, okay? Um, Something is wrong with that message. But as I please do, all of you hearing me, make sure and visit the consortium and review the article for yourself. That maybe you will get a better understanding and more clarity if you do your own review. Okay, um, folks, I do hope that some of you, yes, it's good that you're listening to me, but I do hope that at the same time, please make sure that if you're not looking at it now, that you pay attention and make sure to review the recording because there always is a recording that is replayed of the Senate Education and Workforce Development hearing that is presently going on under the chairmanship of Senator Kurt VLA. Okay, there's a lot of confusion and misinformation and lies that was being told this morning going on between the Department of Education and the Board of Education. Okay, all concerning the implementation of the law that that exists, um, designating and dictating curriculum of VI history and basic Caribbean history. And we still have the government trying its best to encourage the legislature to adjust the law because they are having problems implementing it. Okay, um, I have a problem with the fact that they don't reach out. Folks, let's remember we have a University of the Virgin Islands that has a research unit. As a matter of fact, I was reading the other day concerning the senior researcher who is named as Dr. Laverne Raxton. I don't believe the Department of Education has tried to reach out to Dr. Raxton to ask for assistance, collaboration, guidance, whatever, in trying to put together this curriculum of VI history and basic Caribbean history. Okay, but they simply tell everyone that there are challenges, and um, I have a problem when the director coordinator of social studies is asking for, I think it was $500,000 in order to properly um, get the resources and information and to do the proper implementation. I have a problem with that because any coordinator who puts in a textbook that the Virgin Islands, who names the Virgin Islands United States Virgin Islands in a text, I have a problem with that. We're not the United States Virgin Islands. I don't know when and under whom the emblem, the seal that sits on the wall of the legislature, when it was changed, because I recall as a child that it did say Virgin Islands of the United States, which is the accurate title for the territory. It is in the revised organic act, okay, that we are the Virgin Islands of the United States. And for those who have a better comprehension of the English language, they will understand that there is a difference in the meaning of United States Virgin Islands and the meaning of Virgin Islands of the United States. I would go no further with it. And I do encourage you to do your research and learn the difference. Okay? It's not semantics. There is a definite difference. Okay? Let me point out a few announcements. Well, for one, the Board of Education will have its regular board meeting on Saturday, this coming Saturday. It will be held at the board conference room in St. Thomas. Those of you who may be interested in following along, you can call the board office and either district and give them your email. They will send you the link, to be able to listen in to the meeting. So that is this Saturday, the 15th. I do encourage all of you to, um, to connect. Okay. Um, we are scheduled. One other announcement I have to make, and that is that the Office of Elections has scheduled a voter registration for students at the Complex High School. Okay, the St. Croix Educational Complex at noon. So, parents, guardians, if you are interested in having your child to be registered, um, make sure that they have the birth certificate with them on Friday, and they can be registered right there at the school at 12 noon. I'm sorry that the announcement does not, okay, and I'm looking as I'm speaking, but I don't see it. It does not say exactly where in the school the uh, let me see. It's okay. There's someone else that you can deal with because it is said that this event is in collaboration with Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. So if you are familiar with Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, um, they maybe will be able to tell you where at the St. Croix Educational Complex Site School will be holding the voter registration drive. But there is a voter registration drive and also a machine demonstration. Um, and that's Friday, this Friday, okay, from 12 to 12:45, right? So, as I said, if you have a child at that school, and let's make sure you understood that uh, if the student will be 18 before the next election, as I recall, that is the policy, that they can register at 17, okay? As long as they will be 18 by the date of election. That's how it was, and I do believe that how it is, how it continues to be. But if there is any board member for the Board of Election listening that would like to give more clarity to that, please, you're welcome to call in 773-0390 or 773-0490. Okay? And remember the documents needed for voter registration is a birth certificate, and these are original, folks, no copies. A birth certificate or a U.S. passport okay, or a naturalization certificate. Okay, so those are the documents that are required. Well, one is the naturalization certificate, and to the members of the board of selection who will be doing the voter registration. Okay, so that's Friday from 12 o'clock to 12:45. Okay, all right. Another announcement is that the St. Croix Foundation, okay, is ready with the 2025 Kids Count Package. Remember, folks, that is a document that is really um, filled of all kinds of information, useful information and data. Um, and let me just read so you can get it direct from the St. Croix Community Foundation. The St. Croix Community Foundation is pleased to announce the upcoming release of the territory's annual publication, the 2025 Kids Count, when data speaks the voice of our children. They'll be doing that on November 19th at 10 a.m. and it's going to be a virtual presentation. Okay, so if you want to receive or to be involved, you can register now, right? And that is staff. This is the registration staff at St. STX Foundation.org. Okay, staff STAFF at stxfoundation.org. Good. Okay. I did see you there. I don't know if the call dropped or what, but well, you weren't there when I tried to bring you in. Okay, you're coming back. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yeah, Peggy, if we could get back to the Cuban business for
No
a little.
problem. Go ahead.
Um, Years ago, the Cuba used to start early in the morning before the sun came up. I believe it was after a whole lot of foolish people who seemingly come out to events to create trouble and not to have fun. And one incident that I remember clearly, uh, and this is a good way back, some of my children were still yet young. I was standing on the side of the road by the legislature, looking at the Cuban. It just came out of the village and was going down. And let me tell you something. I see a crowd rushing coming towards us. I put my children towards the fence and I got my back turned to them. And this one guy passed me running and he jumped into the water there by the legislature. And I had a guy running behind him with a big sword. And he was swinging that sword like nobody business. You better get on the world, you'll get sliced with it. Now, you know, they have found afterwards, and I believe that's one of the reasons they went to daylight when people go to see what's going on. A lot of the young folks, not just young alone, guys who want to get in trouble, they would be wearing a trench coat. On the name of Jesus Christ, you will put on a trench coat, which is meant for weather, cold stuff in hot ass place. But you got a shotgun hidden under it. You see? And these are the kind of things that I guess created it to go into. A lot of people say, oh, this is a stupid thing about being the phone, man. Yeah, But then the behavior of others that cause that to change. Now, as I mentioned before, Peggy, I have been to carnivals, which include Cuba and everything else, in various places. And in Trinidad, I remember clearly the first time I went there, I went with Mike Springer Sr. Yeah, both of us worked at a Whopper. I work in both districts as an engineer. He worked in St. Croix as a dispatcher. We were friends and took me down there. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, a big, like a siren goes off. That announces the start of Juve. And we sent to them stand on the road till like 12, 1 o'clock in the day. Straight, you got band clashing coming from this street, that street, the other street. And that's what it is, just fun. I don't recall seeing anybody getting hurt except in Antigua. But this guy, he didn't get hurt from the Juve. A white guy, yeah, his Jeep had flipped going towards the airport and he was on the side of the road there laying up for hours. I don't know why they didn't come to take it from there, his body. But it's supposed to be fun. I mean, isn't that what carnival and them things supposed to be, Peggy?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, so I can understand people go there with knives, they got knives soaking in garlic and all kind of things you can't see when you get cut. I know a friend of mine get that Mario himself, when Mario told me when he and my cousin Machina was walking somewhere in the carnival, they stabbed him in his back. He was mistaken. Somebody else that was after and caused him to lose his spleen and different things.
Yep.
But hey, I mean, like I said, I had a friend of mine, and I didn't know that's why he came from New York. He was living in New York for a long time, but apparently he and some other guy had a beef, and he stabbed the guy to death. I didn't see when it happened. I didn't know who did it, but after a couple of days and describing who the boss was, I said, "But Jesus, that's my friend." By the time you were back in New York, he's still in New York.
Hmm.
I mean, it's really sad, that we can't get together as black people and have fun. Now, the governor, he going so far in the land to have his fun. I guess the fun in the $40 ain't good enough for you no more.
But don't you think, Mr. Nibs, that an activity such as this, if you want to be honest, should have been done earlier in his tenure?
Well, I would think so, yes. But you see, again, this guy has a lot of ulterior motives. He
Yeah.
is setting himself up.
The motive is just to have a visit to Africa that he don't want to spend on his own.
No, that's not the motive alone. He look into business enterprises by the help of the government, of course. The help of the government and the budget. But yes, and the thing is this, I don't know. Maybe this is why people have said to me, if they use job, but you can't be no governor, you can't be no senator. God, you don't think too much about the government money.
Well,
The government
Nibs,
money,
you haven't had more experience and been more involved in administration. In I would like your opinion. If you're
uh-huh.
on a visit and your visit is with the former president of Ghana,
I will get into that. Go ahead.
well,
Go ahead.
doesn't that seem like something is wrong there? If you're talking business, looking to set up, some kind of trade interaction, shouldn't you be meeting with the sitting president?
You see, and you're smart, you don't not know past you. And let me tell you something right
Well,
now.
the
I'm
thing
going
is,
to
we went to Ghana under the invitation of the tourism authority at that time. That was in 2016, I think it was. I say, and we were guests at the castle of the president of of Ghana at the time.
And
it was a whole thing with the Joseph project that they were promoting.
the way it should be, Peggy, he is not the ex-governor visiting an ex-president. He's a sitting governor. So he should be free to come back. I will tell you this. I already placed a call to Ghana. I have a lot of friends in Ghana. I am going to find out why it is that he can't meet with a sitting president. Because the people that I will talk to in Ghana, even Nigeria, they are people in government, so they will know.
Yeah, he's
They will know.
yeah, his trip is scheduled for November 22nd to November 30th.
Yes, I know about this. I got down the dates and I gave it to my people, and then they're going to find out for me why it is there. And I put it into why are you belittling my governor that he can't meet with a sitting president? And then they go, we're going to hear the rest of the story. I'm going to bring it back to the head. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
And these kind of things don't stop. Now, let me close by saying this. I did not expect him to get the name of the congregation that he's going with, delegation, as he call it. But I could only imagine.
What is it
So,
simply says senior representatives.
yeah,
Senior representatives from tourism, from economic development, and from the VINGN. Now, senior representatives is that, I mean, that is open because any commissioner, deputy commissioner, a director is a senior representative.
that's true. That's true. But you see, it's more in the matter than the peso. And the funniest thing is, when the talk first came about this trip, because it was leaked, and I got it, and I asked on public radio whether his new first lady, who is his second lady, will be one of the people. All the person did was laugh when I asked that. However, I know that her position is in the senior category. And the reason I suspect and want to believe
Um,
that he would walk in a first lady.
if I may ask for a clarification, because I notice you always say that, but I don't know of that being officially so. Um,
Okay.
the you always refer to the lady as a second, the first lady. There was no wedding that I know of. As a matter of fact, I mean, we're not even sure that the divorce was finalized. So
Let me ask.
I
Let me
am
ask.
saying this for the benefit of the listening audience. Like I tell you,
And you're
I
correct.
always want to make sure I give the accurate information to the listening public.
Peggy, you are correct. I asked him that question. The only way he and I have talked, now I sent him things in writing, he just threw them away. I was told. I asked him that question over the airwaves. As a matter of fact, on Saturday last show, it was brought up again. This is why the Democrats are down on Jamila. They should have asked him not too much hard questions. He was asked about his marital status, and he said the same like Borden told him to say, that's none of your business. I have a private life.
No, but he
I mean,
made it public because, first of all, with the first wife, I remember he gave her a position, and I forget
yeah,
what it was.
and what you could,
Um, that as an official represent. Yes, no, there was nothing wrong. But he gave up as an official representative in the government. I forget exactly
and
what.
she was an ambassador. Ambassador.
Yes, of some kind. So my point is, to ask if there is another first lady is not private because if there is, she's very possibly now in that same ambassador position, and we need to know.
Well, again, but then how you go get it out of his mouth? We gotta hold him and choke him, guy. He ain't willing to say nothing.
Well,
Let me say this.
I would want to say, how is it that his partner, who is really part of is his private matter, but he didn't see that Map's mother was private matter.
Oh, okay then. But you see, this is how we do two things. And
Yeah,
then
well,
I
I just like to remind the public of things in case their memory is
well,
you
I
know
ain't gonna let them forget I say it
fading.
every day on the radio, three, four radio station when I get on. The point is that he could say what you want for me. He'll say a whole lot of things about me, but he could continue to say that. I tell him that I will keep my eyes wide open of he and his close people. I ain't gonna turn my back to none of them. And if and when I am in and out of the Virgin Islands, I have bodyguards as well. Of course. They ain't gonna fetch me up. They ain't gonna go like that. Okay? I know these people. They'll kill their mother. Okay? Now, the thing is that it has become embarrassing for both the governor and this lady that he parades around with as the first lady. Many times I was told, especially in Washington, when they announced, when the governor of the Virgin Islands and Mr. and Mistress Albert Bryan, she looking at him and said, what should I say? Yeah, what should I say though? I mean, it's embarrassing. But he feels that he could do what he wants. And the fact that we in the Virgin Islands allowed it, I don't blame him. I better like him. Governor, I don't like what you're doing at all.
Well,
But you're large because you came from young Democrats to generation now, the dominant Democrats, and you and the boy they from the lottery thing. All I used to say, put me the bottle. I could do what I want down in Democrats, but every rope have an end. The thing is, hopefully now they're okay. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm going to tell this friend of mine in Ghana that's a government official to ask that question when he comes there. If this is Mrs. Ryan, how you gonna do it? Because he owed that to the people. Come on.
well, he definitely and I mean the government provides for a husband and wife to occupy the government house. Now,
Okay.
if you're not married, then it is and you're not say officially engaged. I think it would be improper for you to be having a companion in the government house that the government is providing for.
Well, it's against the law you said. It provides for the first lady being married to the government.
Well, I didn't say against the law because I don't know if it's against the law. I just said it's
It
improper.
is against the law. The law says that it has to be.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, I
Uh,
mean, they're not going to say if the governor bringing in any girlfriend there. They ain't going to say that. They
uh,
say why?
okay, okay.
The first
Yeah.
lady, you know. But again, this is how these younger people look what this
Well,
young man that
what my
uh,
concern is that when you set precedent, then something becomes a pattern,
yes,
and I
the thing
wouldn't
is
want it to be that way because it's a reflection as on us as a people. Just like,
let
for
me say
instance, I keep saying to folks, we need to do something about these what you call it, Lord, the tongues. These tongues as costume because, as I see it, that is indecent exposure. And
yeah,
regardless of the fact that it is a parade, it still should not be allowed. And as I
well,
see it, because we're live streaming our parades all over the world, as I see it, then, when you allow these tongues to be part of the parade, you're inviting sexual deviance to the territory.
of course you are Peggy, and to me, any never seen none of my sisters, nieces, aunts swapping as my mother in that kind of foolishness. So I had to also put them in the cars or some. Hey, I can't say the word and the really going to be very nasty. Okay? Why would you want to go there? Oh, but it's Canada, man. Canada, man. You know,
But
stop it.
here's a problem and the concern that I have that everyone seems to sidestep. That the in St. Croix anyway, the largest group that participates in our parade that includes and involve those costumes with the tongues is sponsored or is promoted by the Deputy Commissioner of Tourism in St. Croix.
Oh, really?
Yes, it,
Wow.
it's Mr. Shamari. I forget his last name. He's
Shamari. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
well, Shamari.
you know,
Yes.
he has this large group of hundreds of participants every year in the parade, and it is the women that it use in their costumes with the tongue business. Now, what is upsetting to me is you make costumes with the tongue for the female, but you got on a pants as a so you need.
Yeah. Peggy, Peggy,
Yeah.
Lord, I'm fussy. I mean, look how this thing, you see, a lot
Huh?
of people have said that it seemingly it is part of the case.
No, because as a tourism being in charge of festival, tourism can make a rule across the territory that tongues are not accepted as costumes in our parades.
Of course,
Period. And the point is, if anybody come with a costume that is a tongue, have it known by the police to remove them and charge them with indecent exposure if need be.
who is going to bell the cat?
But Mr. Nims, if we have a law that says there is indecent exposure, how you want to tell me that a police can pull somebody out of parade for indecent exposure?
I said the police can't do it, you know what?
Uh,
Are they going to do it? Does the governor and the president break the law every day of the week?
well, I am saying they would have to be in compliance by the division of festival in order to make it clear that it should be enforced.
Let me go by saying this, Peggy. I Many people have said, many of the elders, a lot of this thing you see in carnival, people use carnival and drinking rum as an excuse. It's walking up, where you see one woman with bend over and another woman behind her, driving lit behind her. They ain't no thing about no drum and no carnival. This expressing exactly what they do. It got so bad. If you remember, on St. Thomas, there was two lesbianistic acts taking place on the ground. They wrestle between one another like foul.
Well,
And there was also a same-sex marriage, which Bordel proposed and said she liked to go look at.
well, tell me,
I mean,
Mr.
I don't
Nims,
say what that.
because you might know, in South America, in Brazil or wherever, where they do have these type of um, costumes in
Yeah.
parade. Do they have that's the similar behavior?
Well, I have seen some of it. In Rio de Janeiro, I have seen people actually, women, naked, but with body paint on them. And a little mushutush covering the mushutush.
But what I'm asking is, do they have this simulation of sexual act in the parade?
Not in a big way, but yes. Yes, there is some of it. Yes, there is. There is. It happened everywhere. It happened in Mass and Brooklyn. I mean, people are showing what they do. Then the anti-man up and down, kissing up one another. This is what they do.
So So really, what we have done is that we've thrown away our our VI morals, our VI culture, and we're just accepting what everybody else does because that is what is popular.
Now you're talking, again. That's exactly what we have lost our culture. We have lost our common sense. Well, it's Jamaica can do it. Canada do it. God, they gonna do it. You gonna do it. You know what I mean? Hey, what could I say? Anyway, when some of them get really fast, they'll understand themselves.
Well, as we invite the sexual deviance, it will only be a matter of time that we will see that we'll have problems, more problems where our children are concerned with the sexual behavior.
Oh, but then Peggy, I'm going after saying this. You notice closely, you see some of even in the younger children, maybe mostly the teenage girls, they might come up in a majorette or something, or they look at them and between them big woman and the tongue got them like that slingshot. Like it ain't funny, but this is like this.
No, it ain't funny at all, and to be, to it's something that bothers me because I don't like that my island is promoted worldwide as not having that being publicly sexually indecent.
You know, it had I think one church, a church that spoke out against it was that no, pussy. I heard the very congregation of women lift and the minister said,
Well,
I know it. I
if
got,
and 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 you would want to tell me that he continued to preach?
what you going to do? What you live
Well,
What you
uh,
live
no, he would have to recognize that there is something hypocritical about his congregation. If you know,
It was being such a big. But the things that happen now, Peggy didn't have when we, so it's kind of foreign to us. But this is the wave of it's gonna get worse.
but what bothers me is we don't seem to realize that all those ways that we had that people think now are old fashioned is what made us attractive.
Listen, to me, a woman is just as beautiful in her clothes. And leave it to me, in my mind, to think what is under the clothes.
But it was
And
what I'm saying is that it was a cultural costuming that we
yeah,
used that made us attractive and unique.
that's true to the flowers, the this, the that, the type of
Exactly.
thing.
And there was
Yeah,
always a theme or a message, whether it, was hitting on the political or whatever, but it was entertaining.
right. Listen, I, as a boy, have gone to the beach with my mother, and mostly they would have like a church outing, and the carnival time, because they don't want to be involved in the carnival, so they go to the beach, big eat out, and on top of a full bathing suit, not tight on you, with loose legs, with loose thing on the legs. On top of that, my mother would also have a dress. I said, "Are we doing all that clothes? You think you want to strip up yourself in front of people?" You see, that was then. That ain't the now. I got
All right. Thank you.
right.
All right. And folks, it is something, and I'm talking about the behavior and the indecent costuming in the parade. It is something that at some point we need to address head on because, as I see, it is only getting worse and it is really, um, as I see, discrediting us as a territory, as a people. And at some point, we have to address it and decide to do something about it. because it is not something that will stay within the confines of a parade, and there are no consequences or impact on anything else. No, that's not the way life works. It will definitely impact other behaviors. So if we want to ignore it and think that it has no impact, well, let's see how we deal with it when we get to that point. Let's make sure we remember that there were two very serious, okay, very serious situations with sexual assault in schools in the St. Thomas district that have been pretty much covered up. One did run the extent of a trial and prosecution and someone going to jail. The other one is pretty much a cover up because there's nothing since the article came out, and there was the mention of the student who made the report in high school of assault that took place in elementary school. And other than that, it seemingly has been pushed under the carpet. There's nothing else that's been done. We can't continue to ignore or cover up things. All that does is that it just festers into more serious problems, whether we want to admit it or not. So we'll see. We will definitely see what happens. Okay. Um, so, folks, let's make sure that we understand that we are the ones to determine who we are and how we want to be described, represented, defined, explained. We, the Virgin Islanders, decide that. So it's up to us to determine how we're going to deal with it. At any rate, um, getting back to, okay, there's one PTO that I failed to announce, and that is the Alfredo Andrews School have their PTO organization meeting, and that's Parent Teachers Organization, Tuesday at 5:30. And I'm sorry, I don't have the information, but I do know that they have uh, two presenters, as I recall, two officials, I do believe, from the Department of Education who will be presenting and giving explanation that will be important for parents to be familiar with. So I do encourage those of you who have children in the Alfredo Andrews Elementary School, please be sure and go out Tuesday evening at 5:30 in the school auditorium. Okay? Um, again, I let me go back. I was letting you know about the St. Croix Foundation um, presentation of the release of their annual um, Kids Count document book. Okay, so as I said, that's going to be taking place on November 19th at 10 a.m. And I'm looking for the email that you can send to in order to register. Okay, right, here it is. Um, STX, oops, hold on. Okay, okay, that's the website now. Okay. In order to register, you go to staff, STAFF, at STX WSTXfoundation.org. Okay, and there you can register to be included in the 10 a.m. virtual presentation of the Kids 2025 Kids Count, and then the whole booklet, the publication, will be available for you. Anyone who deals with young people or anyone who deals with family young people, I do suggest that you register in order to get that publication because definitely at some point the data will be valuable for your use. Okay, so make sure and send for that. Right. Um, Continuing on, as I pointed out, the pardon my um, distraction, but there's some things I'm trying to bring up at the time in order to make you aware of it. Okay. Um, the okay. There is what is called from the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs. They have published what is called the regulatory roundup of the Department of License and Consumer Affairs, and it has some 5 bullet points that is referred to as the vision for the DLCA, and that is presented by the Commissioner Natalie Hodge. Okay, so I will just share with you the 5 bullet points. Bullet one, it says strengthen efficiency to continue modernizing licensing processes and expanding cross training so that every consumer and business receives timely service. Okay. The next one is to enhance consumer protection, and that is by broadening our outreach on fuel transparency, illegal surcharges, price transparency, and noise disturbance enforcement. Right? The next is deepen community engagement, and that is by increased town halls, radio rounds, and grassroots education campaigns so Virgin Islanders see the DLCA not only as a regulator but also as a trusted partner. The fourth is support our workforce, and that is invest in professional development, wellness initiatives, and recognition programs to ensure our staff remain motivated and equipped to meet the challenges ahead. And the last is promote safe and complaint cultural festivities. I'm sorry, promote safe and compliant cultural festivities. And that is work closely with event organizers, vendors, and the public to ensure that our festivals, celebrations, carnivals, and other cultural celebrations are safe, enjoyable, and fully compliant. Okay? The DLCA is more than an agency, it is a trusted partner for U.S. Virgin Islands residents. Together, we are building a fair, safe, and consumer friendly marketplace. I look forward to the months ahead and the continued growth of this dynamic division. Okay? That is from the DLCA. Now, next, I have an announcement from the GERS concerning the retiree holiday social. Okay? And it says, compliments of the season to you. The retiree holiday social is back for its third year. This year, we're kicking things off a little earlier on Friday, November 28th at Havenside Mall on St. Thomas. After the social, retirees and their loved ones are invited to stick around for an evening of entertainment, food vendors, and exclusive Black Friday deals from our stores during Friday night at Havenside. Next, let's head to St. Croix. We've partnered with the Crucian Culture Group for its annual mobile night lantern parade and tree lighting on Saturday, December 6th at Sunday Market in Christiansted, St. Croix. Okay? Both socials will take place from 4:30 to 6:30. That's a bit confusing. And the reason I'm saying that is that if the St. Croix group is partnering with the Crucian Cultural Group that does the mobile night lantern parade, how is the social over at 6:30? Uh, then they won't. I guess the lantern parade will continue after the social. But at any rate, let me read that again. St. Croix, we partnered with the Crucian Cultural Group for its annual mobile night lantern parade and tree lighting on Saturday, December 6th at Sunday Market. Okay? Folks, Sunday Market is the official title for we what you call Times Square in Christiansted. Okay? And as it says, the social will take place from 4:30 to 6:30. That is the GERS, the Government Employees Retirement System. Okay? And this is the retirees holiday social. Right? Um, there will be giveaways, as it says, while supplies last. Okay? So, folks, while it might seem like it's a little bit um, confusing, it is as the ad, the presentation uh, points out. You're invited to Crucian Cultural Group and Government Employees Retirement System, Retiree Holiday Social, Saturday, December 6th, 4:30 to 6:30, Times Square Christian said, free admission, giveaway while supplies last. Okay, so that is that, right? Um, okay, now, folks, those are the announcements that I had so far. Um, okay. Now, I heard some situation there. I just wanted to point out for those of you who are interested, okay, we are scheduled to be doing a walkthrough of the St. Croix schools in early December. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome.
Peggy, as I just heard you mention the word retirees. As the retirees getting their money, then you get your $50,000 that they owe you.
Hell no. I don't
But
even
what
know. I haven't been able to review the budget that was passed to see if there was an appropriation for, and maybe you have access that you can find out if they appropriated the next 25 million. Remember, the governor had said for the last 4 years of his term, this his second term, that he was going to have 25 million uh, appropriated for retirees in each budget.
true, you just said that, yes.
Okay, so well, that's what I'm referring to. I have not been able to find out if there is 25 million in this one because by his way of seems to keep saying that he has keep his promises, it should be in there. And if it's in there, then we would get whatever share they decide how they're going to share the 25 million if it has been appropriated. But I don't know about that. And yes,
Well,
so I am still owed. Yes, and
I'm gonna find out, but because I am sure if it's not in there, then it's Jibble for that to go on this luau that they're going on.
yeah. But my thing is, if you're bragging that you got 100, correct me if it's 100 and something million, you say you got put away for the next administration.
That's what he said.
Okay. So you can't take 25 million of that to keep your promise and give us our retro, which, let me, for the benefit of the listening audience, still will not complete what is owed.
Exactly. But
Okay.
you see, this is where you cannot trust nothing this man said because this and what audience is in front of, he twists him out and he says something else. As an example, on Saturday on Jamilia's show, and Jamila was trying to do her best to calm him down because he was going like he's fine. I don't have to tell nobody this. I don't have to do it. Everything I do for them, they do the unfaithful. They never know. I mean, I'm going on. For a man, you're supposed to do that and more. You're the servant of the people. I don't understand this man.
Well,
And he's going on and screaming like she's trying her best.
remember, and I don't recall where he said, but remember when he won the re-election, he said, well, he don't have to be nice no more. Remember that?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
All right. So he
Exactly.
keeping the word on that one.
But I don't understand. I really don't know. I really, even though I have never voted for a Democratic governor. Okay, of course, I was a map man after Schneider. And after Albert got elected, I said, okay, let me give him the benefit of the doubt, but he now is going to prove himself that you man could do things. God favored him, maybe. 2.5 money and COVID money, $50,000. God made it so this man could have. And what does he have to show for it? And he
Well,
was stupid down.
well, to be accurate, it was God and map.
You didn't see that, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because a lot of the money that became available was through the efforts of Governor Map.
Mark never surplus, Papa never surplus. I don't know. know, man, I really don't understand that people continue with the foolish devil. He's the best governor. And I say, okay, I would go along with you saying it because it's you say. But tell me how and why. All the people he's the best governor. Oh, what can he do better than any other governor to make him the best? He's the best governor. And I supposed to understand that, and you supposed to be certified by a teacher. And that's all the answer you could give me. He's the best. And I wouldn't want to say the worst, okay?
Hopefully, we don't get the worst next year.
But because, I mean, this, a lot of people don't know, you know.
Well, I'm saying hopefully we don't get, because it seems that ever since Snyder, each one has just been getting worse and worse.
Yeah. I mean, we in serious threat, very serious, particularly with a man like Donald John Trump in the driver's seat. We in trouble.
Yeah.
My
So,
God, I don't know.
so we definitely have to make sure that our choice next year is someone who is very, very familiar with all the departments and very familiar with the operation of government and is committed to having government function accurately, transparently, and to the best possible with the best possible practices.
Peggy, I am a consummate gambler. I don't show my hand, but I have shown it and I've spoken it with the upcoming gubernatorial election. If we really don't get, they don't tell me that Santa from Antigua and he comes in because of the buy. I don't care. I don't see none of them but walk in the shoes that and has the contact he already has. The don't tell me something about no Dana Fred President, Dana Fred what president. She hasn't known outside of the Thomas. Are we serious or what?
Well, the thing is that if we go that way, then we will be putting a third bully in place, and bullies is our problem.
Well, I don't know so much about the police. You probably know more about that than me, but I am talking from the standpoint of his program, things that he is doing even now.
No, no, no. I'm talking about Fred Gregory. You mean you don't know that?
Okay,
You,
okay.
you don't know of the bullying?
Oh, of course, I know. I work
Oh,
with Gregory in the legislature. I work
okay.
in the legislature.
Well, okay.
We work in the business office together, and then when I became executive director, she was still in the business office. I know her very
Well,
well.
and you should know then that bullies don't make very good leaders
Well,
because they can't listen.
maybe you might change overnight. I don't know. I don't know. But we really got to be serious. We in serious time
Yes, we
and
are.
getting worse again. I mean, like a push away all Trump has to do as he's doing now because the Congress allows him to, and the court. He tried to go cut the Virgin Islands, lot of federal money by 1/10, and then we overstand ourselves. I don't know. We shall see, but it's I gone again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Folks, I have been sent and asked to read that this flyer concerning the agriculture St. Thomas St. John. To make it clear, St. Thomas St. John Agriculture Fair. The theme, as indicated, is keeping agriculture alive in 2025. Okay. Seemingly, you have entertainment with Rima, Rasbach and Empress Aima, Fight Train Band, Ecstatic Band, and Gen Fusion. Okay. This is all at the Bordeaux Farmers Market on the November 22nd from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Local farmers and vendors, cold pot lighting contests, gospel performances, children activities, and WIC coupons are welcome. Okay, this is the St. Thomas St. John Agriculture Fair, November 22nd at the Bordeaux Farmers Market from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay, we also have a flyer from the Farmers Market Fun Day, and this is this Saturday at the Rudolph Schulterbrand Fairgrounds from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Okay, and it points out that there will be fresh produce, live music entertainment, kids games and activities, and free biometric screening and seniors produce distribution that was previously approved. Now, folks, seniors, I don't know what that means, but those of you who it applies to, I guess you know what is meant by that. Okay, so that is this Saturday, Farmers Market Fun Day at the Rudolph Schulterbrand Complex Agriculture Grounds. Okay, um, we also have a schedule, and this is a schedule seemingly for slaughtering schedule. Only problem I have here is they're not pointing out whether this is St. Croix or St. Thomas. But I guess maybe you will figure it out. Okay. Um, it says, okay, we're in November and we are today at the 12th. Okay. And it so happens that for the rest of this week, it is the schedule says maintenance, no slaughter. No slaughter today, tomorrow, no Friday. The next slaughter will be Monday the 17th, and it says cattle, goat, and sheep. Okay, the 17th is cattle, goat, and sheep. The 18th, which is the Tuesday, will be pigs, and then Wednesday the 19th and Thursday the 20th will be overflow. And I guess that means that whoever did not get their slaughtering done on Monday the 17th or Tuesday the 18th, then you would have to go when the overflow schedule, which is Wednesday the 19th and Thursday the 20th, because then Friday the 21st is scheduled for maintenance. Okay, the 24th again, which is the following Monday. So 2 weeks, 2 Mondays in a row, they will be slaughtering cattle, goat, and sheep. And the 24th, they also include pigs. Okay, so I have announced that for the Department of Agriculture coming from your Public Information Officer, Miss Veronique Joseph, and I will read her message for your information. It says the attached official flyer for the St. Thomas St. John Agriculture Fair. Okay, it's coming your way on Saturday the 22nd from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. This free one-day event will be packed with entertainment, including the one and only Rima, Rasbash, and Empress Aima, fire train band, static band, and more. Get ready to enjoy live performances, patronize our local farmers and vendors, hang out with friends and family, and eat delicious food. Be sure you dress to impress. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and we'll see you there. Also, the Farmers Market Fun Day on St. Croix. That event will have fun activities for the youth, music entertainment, free biometric screening, and a chance to shop with some of our local farmers. We will also be distributing a free bag of fresh produce to all pre-approved seniors on St. Croix. The week recipients, be sure to come out to receive your turquoise week coupons and purchase fresh local produce for free. We look forward to having a great time with you on Saturday, November 15th at the Rudolph Schulterbrand Agriculture Complex from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please note that the abattoir is closed this week for scheduled maintenance and will reopen on Monday, November 17th. Okay? And that was the schedule that I read a few minutes ago. So, those are the announcements coming from the Department of Agriculture media person, Miss Veronique Joseph. Okay? Folks, I do need to make an apology because I'm coming up on my early 3 o'clock close off. Remember, I told you at the beginning I do have a medic an appointment that I cannot miss. So this afternoon I will be closing off early at 3 p.m. I must apologize because I did post on a notice on Facebook because Mr. Oakland Bender had accepted to call in and share some information with the listening audience, but for whatever reason, um, we did not hear from him. He has not been responding to our contact, trying to contact him. So I do apologize that he was not available to share that information that he says he has. And well, we'll see if when he does come on island, because he wasn't on island, he was going to call in. So we'll see if when he comes on island, we can get him to come in and share that information that he claimed to have. Okay? So we'll look forward to that. All right? So going over one more time before our time runs out, the announcements that we're making. First of all, Saturday, the Board of Education has its regular board meeting. And if you're interested in listening, you can call the board office and they will give you the link to connect. Good afternoon and welcome.
Oh, yeah, Peggy, I just heard you mentioning that you had tried to reach Benta for schedule call in.
Well,
So,
we had an agreement that he was going to be on for 2 hours sharing some information today, but for whatever reason, we haven't heard from him and he's not answering any calls. So I don't.
okay. Because when I heard that, I tried myself to reach him, and I was unable to reach him as well. So I
Yeah.
don't know what the situation is. I know he travels a lot. He's all over the place.
Mhm.
And so I don't know what the situation
Well,
is.
he
But
did
I
say
know
he
you.
was not in the territory, but we were, arranging for him to be able to make the to reach out
To
at any
call
rate.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suspect something happened. I don't know what it is. But I guess we hear. But the other your time is short. You get it ready to go to do something that's very important that all of us should do. Keep a check on our health. Stress is killing people, and with all that's going on, and the whole set of stressfulness like this situation with WAPA that the governor and Starlight continue to lie to us about. But got people dropping down. Now, look how things happen. The WAPA just won in court the
Yeah,
authority.
against a lawsuit. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, so yes, the rate even higher. But hasn't this said that they were supposed to be reducing rates? One time I heard he and the governor, they put, yeah, man, we reduce that.
Mr.
So I
Nibs,
don't know.
we've been hearing about rate being reduced ever since. Remember, it was Hugo Hodge first said that when he
Yeah,
was implementing the alternative energy with the
the LPG,
exactly.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
how far back?
that's true.
How far back that was? That was not this a decade.
That's something like that as well.
Well, I mean, he was the first, to mention that from WAPA. But ever since that, there are other people who have come after him, and we hear every the year or two they repeat the same thing, and it has not yet happened.
Well, true, and the governor went as far as campaigning for his first term, said that WAPA is a peace, and he go from the ills of WAPA, which is anybody have a sick baby would make sure get well.
Well, and it bothers me when you're going to say you're going to Africa to initiate trade, but here
Oh,
locally, what the good is it if we can't even maintain energy?
but the very
Shouldn't that come first? Shouldn't that solution come first?
there's a thing called priority.
Uh, uh,
Charity begins at home.
all right.
But the man has done it, but you tell me that since I can't get Model Peterson, yes, Model, so tell me how much house did he build? Please, how much roads, how much hospitals, how much schools? But he's the best governor. Son, I don't know, sir. I don't know.
If I recall, I mean, the number of homes wasn't even to like 50 or just, it was a small number as I recall.
But Peggy, let me tell you something. Ario Diaz, which I know very well because I used to run the housing authority, that that he, the housing authority rehabilitated, but he took all the credit, he bailed and he rehabilitated and it's nice.
Well,
But 50 homes or 45 units, governor, and there's still 900 homes without roof
but
in
but
seven
Miss
hurricane seasons.
but Mr. Nibs, he taking credit for for a bridge that was there and all you do is fix it? Oh no.
Yeah, the man
Okay.
say he like to
I
bridge and this and that.
no, because I never knew that you had ribbon cutting when you're done repairs. I thought ribbon cutting was when something that wasn't there before, something is it's constructed new.
Peggy, I don't mention that we ran out of ribbon because he cut ribbon before, during, and after every project. I
Well,
don't understand it.
well, I'm just saying for the benefit of because that's part of the problem that things continue as they are because we have a community that is very ignorant where government operation is concerned because of the deficiency in our curriculum with our history and our civics. Okay, so this is why I try to contribute with little I know for the audience to realize that ribbon cutting is usually done when something is brand new,
Yeah,
never existed before and is now in existence. Not when you go and take something that's been there for 50 something years or even more than that, really. Because,
okay.
you know, and that was deteriorating because of age, and you fix it, and you damn near take about 2 3 years to fix it.
Peggy, you know what? He and his cabal would say to that same you just make Peggy, you know what she done him for. And
Well,
that's the answer.
well,
Yeah,
I know Calhoun Bridge been there from before I banned. Okay,
I know that myself
and
too.
I so I know I don't see why you're cutting ribbon for a bridge when it's been there. All you do is what is expected of any administration, which is to show up or to repair when it is looking to fall apart.
Peggy, I spoke with an attorney yesterday that has lawsuits against WAPA, various lawsuits,
Oh wow.
and the lady was highly offended. She lives in the state, she does her work from there, and then she comes when she needs to come to the island, she comes. Because a lot of information with regards to how WAPA should run, I I wouldn't say give it to her. I would say that people this information. Now, what it is, she don't understand and I don't understand. She said maybe the judge was lazy or he corrupt. And it's a judge from Philadelphia, I think. Yes. I don't know about him being lazy or corrupt. I believe that he's uninformed of how WAPA supposed to run. And not just WAPA, the industry of power generation, distribution, transmission.
Well, he
He don't
might
know.
have been going on what he knows regular energy company should run, which is not
Yeah,
the situation with WAPA.
yeah, but even that, Peggy, in the regular situation, there's a thing called industry standards. And industry standards does not allow for you every 5 minutes to be before the PSC asking for an increase in LEAC. Right here in Florida, I bought a condo here in 2009. The bill used to be never went over $165. My daughter gave me a bill the other day for the October thing. It was 195. I said, what? She said, Daddy, you forget they were announcing and FPL, which is Florida Power and Light, was saying they have to raise the rate. Yes, they're raising the rate, but look at it's only gone up $30. In the $40, people bills are going up by 100.
Yeah,
You can go pay 200 and you can pay for 1,000. And you must shut your mouth, otherwise you're the rabble rouser.
yeah.
But if people put up with this, Peggy, the thing people get out in the street and march for they say we go to Virgin Islands.
Well,
As an example, recently with the government shut down foolishness. There's no need to shut down the government. Why would I do it all the time? I don't care if you do it more than all the time. I mean, it don't have to be. But you do it, and was 7 million people across America march against it. If we have 7 people in the Guatemala march against that, we had a lot. Right.
well, I think the problem is that, and I hope that we will correct that in the upcoming election. We need to elect people who, just like they had that uh, change. Remember, they amended the makeup. They amended the law for the makeup of the WAPA board. We need to make sure that the members of the board that they each bring some skill or that has to do with the operation of the company.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's the same concept we need to now apply to our legislature. We need to elect people who come with the skills or expertise of some kind that has to do with the operation of our government. Because we have too many people, I think, sitting in the legislature who don't understand certain industries and therefore they fall to the wayside. And that's what has happened with WAPA. That's what happens with our communication. That's what seemingly is happening with education. But it's strange because the majority of the people in our institution are from the police division, but they ain't help nothing there.
Oh, Peggy, I traveled to St. Croix on a Saturday with my own money because I wasn't in government no more to meet with a Crucian senator who told me that, Fonso, I know you have a lot of experience in WAPA, in government, but particularly WAPA and housing. I want to hire you as a consultant. I tell him, okay. We talked about the pay. It wasn't really what I was hoping, but then I went along with it. I get the first check yet. And this is 15, maybe 20 years ago. And when I was able to catch up with him, he told me, well, you didn't do nothing. Everything I find out about WAPA and housing, I do it myself. I said, oh. And he went and wrote some legislation that made him look like a baboon. Because he was talking foolishness. When you talk about power production and generation, you talk about millions of watts. And he talking about watts. And you talk about thousands of volts, kilovolts, not volts. But that's what you get. So I didn't get paid, but that's all right. He not in the legislature no more. You see, I don't know, Peggy. I really don't know what is going to happen to us. More than to tell you this, I wish you a good afternoon. That people laughing at us.
Well,
when I just have people the list of all who say they walking, I mean running for the governorship, the people ask me, that's all you got. Only them there. These two women, the Gregory and the Stacy.
Well, the list is growing, so we'll wait until the list is complete. But I have a call coming in. I want to give them a chance before I have to leave.
Yeah, you go right there.
All right, there. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for holding.
Good afternoon, Ms. Mohammed.
Good afternoon, sir.
I heard that you said you are visiting the Board of Education is visiting the school. When is it? This month?
Next it's supposed to be in St. Thomas next week, and in St. Croix the first week in December.
The first week in December. So that you comment on all the schools or select schools?
No. All the schools. They go on the schools. They have different schools, and you know, there's a schedule of what schools on which days.
Okay. And
That's a committee headed by member Winona Hendricks.
that includes adult ed and non-adult ed.
Say it again.
That includes adult ed as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And do you know that if the board has done any survey or knowledge of, so for example, administrators and where they are from that are holding the positions now for the schools, where they're from, whether they're local or non-local people?
Um, I didn't get all of that. So say that again. What's the question?
Do you know of any well, let's say, my concern
Uh huh.
is there and has there any well, not just the knowledge of whether it's the board or anybody that has done a I don't want to say a survey, but it's kind of like a knowledge base to say, well, whether or not the administrators are local people or have everything from someplace else.
Oh no, 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 nobody, no, not such, not such survey has been done. But even if their origin is from elsewhere, they have been here for some time because our administrators at the well, I'm speaking for St. Croix, I don't know for St. Thomas, but my familiarity is all the administrators in the St. Croix schools came through the rank of educators or um, counselors or something. They were in the system prior to becoming administrators, let's put it that way.
Farmer AFC members.
Right, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Well, I was curious because
yeah.
seeing that I'm seeing that at least the ones that I've have origin from other than local here. But anyway,
Yeah, they might
that's
they
a
that yeah, they might still be that they're not born on native Virgin Islanders, but the point is that they've been here, I would say at least 10 years.
at least, right?
At least, yeah. When I
Yeah,
when I
okay.
when I think back on the administrators that I've seen, I would say all of them have been at least 10 years in the system someplace before they became administrators.
Okay. And then my last concern is I know you brought up the subject about the militancy in the parade. We have broached that subject matter some time back, and and question really and truly, what is the objective in the parade as for that level of indecency? We have also questioned the fact that you might get, although you might be labeled as an adult parade, we have young people still that are there that come along with the parents and families and seeing these levels of vulnerability that it seems like ain't going downwards, it's going upwards. And the more it getting more further and more revealing every single year. But we have brought that the both that subject and it's kind of like I'm almost getting in a little bit of trouble because what had happened is afterwards the I think the assistant commissioner that you mentioned had said that they won't fund the station anymore because we have brought stuff and call about the name. But
Oh, I wasn't familiar with that.
well, yeah, okay. Well, they have to, but
No, but that's prejudicial. That ain't right.
well, yeah, again, they were given funding to station, and
Yeah, because
someone
and that is because the department is usually known to make advertisement on each station. So to say you're going to withhold funding to a particular station because of a discussion that involve an executive is totally prejudicial and really wrong.
Well, they said that that the name was cast and the
Yeah,
people was
I call the name of Shamari because everybody knows Shamari is the head of the parade group. It's not a
well,
secret.
that name was cast too, but you know that's the thing. But anyway, I would like to again, you know, coming closer to the holidays, the end of the year, and to that very same carnival atmosphere that we're talking about. And I would definitely like to see what will come out of it because even though we had the discussion the previous year and we're now getting the discussion again, I don't see that things have changed that much to try to bring decency into the parade. And of course, we're being compared with the Latin American countries and what they do, or even Trinidad and Tobago, or the Trinidad Carnival, etc., etc. And you know,
All
I
I am
understand that.
asking is that because I got no problem with the costume, and I don't see why it has to be a tongue. It can be just as attractive, and what we used to call what would be like a boxer shorts type of look. Eh? Why does it have to be a tongue? I that is the problem I have with it. And being that it is a representative or an executive of the Department of Tourism, I have even more problems with it because they should not be accepting such costuming because they're the ones to regulate the parade, if anything. And they, if anything, should be having a regulation that says, you know, costumes should at least represent decent exposure. There is a law on the VI code of indecent exposure. You know, if you go someplace, brother, and you ain't think they will arrest you,
Well, okay, but it ain't just the tongue, you know, it's the actions as well.
no,
You know,
no,
you
I am not thinking with the action because that is not something we can call that's adult whatever. When it comes to the action, my thing is let don't have the cameras focusing on the action because it is the live streaming that I have the problem with. That the live streaming that is going throughout the world.
But let me speak a little bit directly. The walking up and the gyration and the sexual, uh, seemingly sexual actions that I think one of your colleagues made earlier today is being got to just do with just when the camera showing it for the live stream. We who are there live and ain't got no camera in our hand but seeing it, seeing all of this thing and like I think you're indicating we grew up here. We never used to have them kind of indecent behaviors in the street. So in the parade, and now we're seeing it more and more. And it ain't just a man and a woman, the whole gay thing and all of that kind of thing that is dealing with. So all of that is what we're looking at, whether the camera is live and streaming to the wall or not. Even though it's not, even though it's streaming to the wall, we, the local people are here looking at this. And sometimes, you know, not sometimes, a lot of the time, we're feel like, what the hell is going on in this doggone parade? And it seems like the ones that are doing it, they don't give a heck what they're doing. And all in the name of carnival, so that they could have fun and then go home when they're done. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, I don't think because somebody policing them, looking at what they're doing, even before they go out there, before the holidays come in, start to deal with some decency protocols so that we have a decent parade. I don't think the indecency is necessary for us to have a parade. And again, like you said, and like think somebody said earlier, you got people children watching, and you don't know what them type of learned behavior or behavior on fun. and teach the young people that which direction they go from that.
Well,
So I just hope that
as I said, my focus and my concentration is the costume. Okay, the costume that is made to expose the body. That is my focus. And
that's the clothing, yes.
yes, the clothing. And as I said, as I see it, the Division of Tourism can make a blanket rule concerning that part of it. They can regulate that. Okay, they can say no tongue in a parade, whatever, because it is for my understanding. It falls under indecent exposure if you're going to wear a tongue in the public. Okay? The behavior is a different thing. I am focusing on the costume. And that is what I'm saying.
Focusing on the costume, I focusing on the behavior, and that the costume, you go put it on the ground, ain't on dance, ain't on stand up.
Understood.
Once they put on the costume and they start to gyrate and do what they want to do and bend over all the way down to the touch the ground, and then one part they up, everybody else, that part they down. In the public street is what we're talking about, in front of the world.
Understood. But Brother Q, you may not have been noticing, which is why I focus on custom, because I have been noticing over time that more and more the sexual deviants that we're registering locally, they have outside addresses. They come from elsewhere. And it is my opinion that because of this mainstream appearance that we're sending out, we are inviting such persons to our territory.
But that's the side effect of it. That's what we're saying. That one
Yes.
door, you open one
Yeah,
door.
but what I am pointing out is that the behavior is a harder thing to control because he's a consenting adult. But you can control in that our WTJX or whoever we grant permission to be in that media sector of the reviewing stand or whatever, okay, should be told not to be photographing or live streaming for focusing on the behavior. And but the costume is kind of hard if you got a whole group of people in this indecent costume.
Well, okay, and then like I said, I hear your section of the arguments, and I just added my part to it that two plus behavior is
Well,
indecency, and we need to address it, and we need to go to a situation where we have an adult parade, not an adult vulgar parade.
and they're going to tell you that it is adults who are then involved in the behavior. But my thing is, and that is what you're missing, I'm going by the law. The law does not allow indecent exposure. There's nothing we can point to the law about two consulting adults in gyrating sexual, implied behavior in the public. But there
But
is,
the term indecent is there, though, right?
yeah,
Indecent is a broad topic, and it should be defined in not just for a clothing, but for the adult behavior.
yeah.
In other words, an adult can't come down the street burning a marijuana split unless he is either indecent or violating something. So the thing is even though it's an adult and you're using the label adult, you must still be responsible and still act decent in the parade. And that's my push. And I understand your point. And thank you again for the time.
No. I heard you.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the time.
No problem. You're welcome. I'm waiting for the engineer to come and close off so that I can get moving out of here to my appointment. I am not seeing the engineer, and I am not one who knows how to close off this situation. So I don't want to leave you all hanging with dead air. So I hope that is you can come in a minute. Josh, I am ready because it is after 3. I don't know where the engineer is, but I was supposed to finish at 3, and I am waiting to get out of here. I have to get an appointment.
I sorry. He said, tell me that.
So, folks,
Okay, we got
thanks
you.
for
Okay, we got
being
you.
for listening in,
Hold on.
and I'll see you next week.
You know, the engineer see me, so I said so. Yeah, no, but you can't say, and you said engineer, see how up here too, hold on. Would have seen on the camera, me, right? Not Josh.
I told just that.
Okay, no, but you got know to say because it look bad at me too. It just look bad at me, you just make me look bad. But I'm gonna leave you with it, you know. Yeah, you just make me look bad. Yeah, you respect. Give thanks, man. Give thanks for you.
Yes, weather update. Sponsored in part by the office of Dr. Carolyn Merritt. Dr. Merritt and the dermatology professionals are ready to take care of your skin.